Seiko shocked the watchmaking world when they made the Seiko Astron 35 SQ in 1969. And ever since then, you could buy an affordable and accurate watch with the only impediment of needing to replace the battery when it runs out. Along the way, specifically in 1988, they launched the Seiko AGS, which stands for Automatic Generating System, also known today as the Kinetic. This has a rechargeable battery inside, which generates electricity by the movement of your wrist, the same way you would charge a self-winding mechanical watch, but this one is more accurate. It usually has a separate button to check the power reserve, which I will demonstrate later in this video, but just to give you an overview, the Kinetic watch is never really known for its reliability when it comes to charging and the eventual deterioration of capacitors over time, which may also happen in a quartz watch, but the difference with that is there are no moving parts in a full quartz watch. This AGS or Kinetic, in some way, is a prelude to the ever mesmerizing spring drive movement. Now let's talk about this watch. Reference number SBBW057 5M430C50. I've been wearing it for more than a week now, and this is not my first time owning a Kinetic watch. I used to have several but always found myself not using them as much. On the other hand, Kinetic dive watches are a bit harder to come by, and most Kinetic watches I've tried are just watches. This one though is a beauty. Just look at that dial. With those beautiful black polished hands with the cathedral hour marker. Some call it flower bud. I don't think it looks like that. It is just mesmerizing to look at. This is probably my favorite white dial Seiko. It is just in pristine condition. I'm talking about the dial here. We can see on the dial the AGS text right there and the scuba, which has a 200-meter depth rating. It has a screw down crown. What more could you ask for? This is just a cool looking watch. The steel bezel is crisp. It looks nice. That 12-hour marker right there needs to be relumed, otherwise it feels great. Obviously, because I changed the gasket on the bezel, that's why it runs smoothly and clicks really nice. Overall, this doesn't affect the astounding look of the whole watch. This also has a kanji day wheel, which is an added bonus, and made in Japan, or Japan underneath a 6 o'clock marker there. The bracelet is solid, which has a diver extension, which is still used today on, well, even on 8L watches, I presume. Looking at the serial of this watch, it was made in October of 1986 or 1996. 1986 being the first year of the Seiko Kinetic AGS being introduced. In 1997, that's when they started using the name Kinetic. So this watch might be one of the first AGS divers out there, or the last ones made. The loom is still comparable to modern Seikos, which I put a video right here. Printed dials like the one in the 7002, 4205s, or this SKX013 for comparison, they just don't last as long. Usually if there is a 90s SKX, this dial would not be in this pristine condition. It would be faded, and the text, the orange text there, would be yellowish, and even the bezel itself would not look as clean, since this is a steel bezel. This watch has a case diameter of 38mm, not counting the crown and the button, a thickness of 13mm, a lug-to-lug of 45, and a lug width of 20mm. A decently sized watch, pretty comparable to the SNE 573 Solar Diver. It even has a drilled lug host for easy strap changes. For a night's watch, this is pretty good. The movement 5M43 has a plus-minus 15 seconds per month, same as the LX or the spring drive. A simple day-date function, and the cool thing about these Kinetic watches is that you can check the power reserve of the watch by simply pressing this button, which moves the second hand in different intervals, 30 seconds being fully charged and so on. I'll put a picture right here so you can see. So the ideal way is to wait until the second hand reaches the 12, and that's when you press it, so that you can see if it arrives on the 6 o'clock marker, it means it's full charge, and so on. The only annoying thing about this function is that if you had synchronized your watch with the atomic clock or your phone, the second hand will be slightly off, so just keep that in mind. I've always felt these quartz watches, whether it be Kinetic or Solar, feel kind of boring. I mean, they tick, tell the time as accurately as any Swiss or Japanese watch, even spring drive. Maybe it is the idea that a mechanical watch can be improved. It can become better, and that's why we are so fixated with mechanical watches. Even though they are far from perfect, the case might also be made that a mechanical watch works without a battery, and even these Kinetic or Solar watches are still not free from unavoidable damage or deterioration, which may cause the watch not to charge, or the battery has passed its lifetime, or worse, it might leak and destroy the whole movement. So that's why most vintage watches still run until today, but I can't deny the utility and the purposefulness of a quartz watch. Usually with mechanical watches, we spend so much time fiddling with it, regulating the movement, having it fixed, modifying, and possibly having it serviced. The quartz watch makes you spend more time in the real world, wherein when you pick it up, it tells you the time without having the need to check your phone to see if it is accurate or not, because it is. And so by wearing this watch for the past few weeks, this is one of my favorite watches this year. Just an astonishing piece from Seiko. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, stay safe.